Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tiny Tiger Collective. Today, I'm going to share with you a flip through of the Traveler's Notebook I used as a baby book for my son after he was born. In anticipation of sharing this very special book with you today, I actually made an equally special purchase recently from a friend of mine called Ilaria, who has embarked on the very exciting journey of starting her own handmade small business. I've been very self-disciplined about saving this envelope for when I'm ready to film the flip through of my baby book so that we can open it together today. Oh, I love it when small business owners include a little handwritten card. I'm going to treasure this, and this is going to be collaged into my journal. Wow. Her business is called Aquasei, and please go visit her and show her Etsy store some love if you love handmade polymer clay jewelry. Now, let's see what I got. Beautiful black velvet bag. And, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. Look at this. I love the gold hardware. And this is the pièce de résistance, the beautiful handmade polymer clay crescent moon that she rolls and dyes and adds all the sparkles herself, and then finds the most fitting charms to add on to this. Now, you're going to see once I get into this book that stars have a very special place in my son's life. It's a recurring motif that is absolutely critical to so many things that remind us of him. And so this is now the perfect addition to the baby book, and I was thinking that it's going to sit right here. So I'm going to put it on with you. Now, some of you might know, Traveler's Notebooks are so much fun because they're so customizable. They're essentially a cover with a wide variety of inserts that you can buy in order to really make the journal your own. And so I always think of it as this sort of modular approach where you can build it out with whatever suits you, and you can take those inserts out, you can swap them around to different notebooks, and best of all, you can add a variety of charms in order to really put your personal flavor. So this lovely charm is now going to be sitting on the front of my Traveler's Notebook. This is a regular size in camel, which I purchased from a local store called Bookbinder's Design here in Australia. This just looks perfect. The combination of the gold hardware and the camel leather, it's just so stunning. It was like it was made for this book. And thank you so much, Ilaria, for creating such a special charm for me to really make this book my own. Now, before I open up this book and share it with you all, I did just want to thank each of you from the bottom of my heart for subscribing to my channel. I uploaded my stationery flops video on Monday, and Tuesday morning I woke up to a flurry of comment notifications. I was so confused at first. I didn't know what was happening. And after having my morning coffee, it literally took me 1 hour before the start of my working day to go through all the comments. And at one stage, they were coming in faster than I could respond to them. I am so humbled, so touched that those of you who have discovered me, took the time to watch my very long videos and also took the time to comment, often with really heartfelt and vulnerable stories of your own experiences with fountain pens, with planners, and with FOMO. And I loved reading all your comments, and I can't believe how much this community has grown. So thank you all for taking the time to be here and for connecting with me. All right, so if you've been at my channel before and you've watched a couple of my other videos, you'll know that I've talked about having a baby book for my son, who's now 2.5 years old. And I've shown you the Hobonichi A6 original techos that I've kept as a daily journal for my son's life. What I haven't yet shared so far on my channel until today is that I got really into stationery in the first few months after my son was born. Those newborn months are just absolutely wild. I mean, I didn't know up from down, left from right. I couldn't write my own name. But in those long sleepless nights, I would watch a lot of stationery videos, and I found that they centered me so much and they soothed me and my frazzled nerves. And as I started getting really into stationery, my partner bought me a lovely gift of a traveler's notebook. He also got me this beautiful traveler's brass fountain pen. And it's when I started getting into the idea of journaling and journaling with fountain pens. And so I built a baby book in the first few months of my son's life in an attempt to sort of document the first year of him coming into our lives and creating our family together. So what I have in here first is a card insert. So this is one of the plastic sleeves with 6 card slots on each side that wrap around your inserts. So here I've got some Instax photographs of ultrasound pictures. This was the first Mother's Day that I spent while I was pregnant. So my partner took me out somewhere nice, and they had a beautiful garden out the front of their restaurant. And I took a photograph quite heavily pregnant in front of an old carriage. These are pictures from the first few months of my son's life, and also a couple of other little special ones as well. I believe he was around 6 and 8 months old in these pictures. This is a little washi tape sample that Joanne from Koala Tea Care gave me when I made a small purchase on her Etsy shop of stickers. And I happened to mention in the comments that I was buying little tiger stickers for my son who's born in the year of the tiger. And honestly, I think she sent me more freebies than what I originally ordered. She is just the most incredible, warm-hearted person, and I cannot recommend her highly enough. So this was one of the little freebies that she shared with me. And isn't it absolutely perfect to tuck in here in the back? So just in case there's any ephemera pictures that I wanted to stick in this book, I would be able to have washi tape on hand. All right, so this is a blank regular size insert that came with this particular journal cover. And I've already covered up the parts that are a little bit too sensitive, but yes, please bear with me as I walk you through this flip through. So as I mentioned, stars have a very important role in how we think of our son. It was really just that stars kept showing up for me after I was pregnant, after I found out I was pregnant. The stars kept coming up. And slowly over time, my partner and I sort of built up this association between stars and my son. And even after he was born, we calculated his birth number. I'm not really, I don't want to make it sound like I'm like really into astrology, but there's just this sort of like fun little thing that you do where you add up all the individual digits of your birthday. So like the day the month and the year, and then you add them together, and then you take the individual digits of that number and you add them together, and you get a number out of 18, and then that tells you what your tarot card is. And so we were slightly amused when, after he was born, we added his number up and we realized that it corresponded to number 17, which is the star. So here I've got the front page. I've got a little magnetic bookmark over here, something that I originally used just to sort of hold some pages together as I was writing in it, but it's almost like this bird bookmark fits in with the rest of the book, so I've decided to keep it there. That's his name, so I've got that hidden. Long before my son was born, we had a beautiful cat named Salmon. And I just thought it was really playful and really fun for the first spread to write it from the perspective of our beautiful cat. Unfortunately, our cat passed away from renal lymphoma 6 years before my son was born. But I think of him as like my son's older brother. Sorry, that sounds really silly when I say it out loud. But if you're a cat lover, please let me know if you understand. In here is a little card that I have. And again, it just says like for my son's name. And here is a Instax photograph of our beautiful cat. I love doing this, by the way. I have a lot of little like mini envelope sets. And in my notebooks, one of my favorite things to do is to paste in these little mini envelopes. And inside, I'll write like a little note. So this is an example where I bought from my recent trip to Japan. I've got some little mini letter sets where I've got these, and I've got a little Bear Bakery one. This one has like a little glassine envelope, and the Bear Bakery comes with matching like this. Actually, the bear one's super cute. Okay, check this out. The bear one also came with these little letter seals. Oh my God, they're so insanely cute. So I love writing a little note in this like mini letter set and then sticking the envelope in my journals. And that was a watercolor picture I did of my cat. This is a story about my son and how we think of him as related to stars. This sticker, it's so cool, isn't it? It's actually from, if I'm not mistaken, I picked it up at a little cafe in Edinburgh. It was just near my hotel, and I was walking past it in a very cold morning, and I ducked in, and it was the coziest place. I don't even know if it's still there, but I've been holding on to that sticker for, I think about, I'd say 3 years. And then once I was designing the spread, I just thought, oh my God, this is like the perfect color. And so I tucked that in. I also love to do these things. Like, I don't know if you can see that there. I've got a black tiny little cat sticker, and I've put it in the black part of this collage paper. And I love putting in little details like that. Okay, this is a spread where I shared the story of when I found out I was pregnant. It was actually via a phone call with my doctor. This was during the time when there were a lot of COVID breakouts. So she had been exposed to a patient with COVID. And so that day she decided to do all of her appointments via telehealth. And so I literally got a phone call telling me that my blood test had come back positive for pregnancy, which was very unexpected at the time. The day after, I asked my partner to take some photographs of me. And so this was around, I was 6 weeks pregnant when I found out, 6 or 7 weeks. And every single Wednesday after that, I would take a photo of, how I grew. And my belly gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it turned out to be, really coincidental, because every Wednesday I took a photo, and then my son ended up coming on a Wednesday. This is me sharing the photographs of my ultrasound, my first ultrasound and my second ultrasound. And so a little bit of journaling about, the results of that, and a little bit about, what the sonographer was like and our feelings and our experiences. This is when we moved up to the Gold Coast, and I'm from Sydney originally. But I had accepted a job offer before I found out I was pregnant. And so there were big changes, like selling our old home, buying a new one, doing a cross state move, and then finding out that I was pregnant at 36 years old, no less. So that was very, very, very big events all happening at once. And then my third ultrasound. This is when we purchased our house that we're living in now, and we are surrounded by crows, and we just started building a home, started renovating, started feeling like we are connected to the community, to the neighborhood, starting to get to know our neighbors, and growing a sense of belonging. So this was a whole spread about that. And that's me getting much bigger by June 2022. So that would have been 2 months before my son was born. And then this was the last photograph that I took before my son was born. So that was 4 days before my son was born. And I was still feeling very, very good, feeling very positive. This was from a brochure in an art gallery. I want to say the National Art Gallery of Singapore. I wrote a book about 4 years before my son was born, and to write my book, I spent a month traveling through Malaysia and Singapore and learning about the colonial history and also the history of resistance in those countries. And the art gallery was something that I visited, like on the weekly. So I use this as a little card, a tip-in, as they call it. And I've got more photographs from the moment that my son was born. And I think this was taken maybe the next morning after he arrived. And so August, being the year that he was, the month that he was born, becomes then, quite a recurring theme. And so here I've got some beautiful pictures. Poppies, I believe, are one of the flowers of August. So I've got that there, and I've got another picture of a poppy there, if you can see that. This was the red envelope from his grandparents. And as I journal on about the first few days of his life, in the actual envelope, the red envelope itself, I've got here a little thing. I swear, I'm not that into astrology. I don't know why I have this, but it's a little thing with Leo. And then it's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but ourselves. That's just for fun. What I actually have in here that I'm not going to pull out and share with you because it's got personal information on it, but I've actually got the just so you see a peep, it's the hospital tags from my delivery. So I've actually got the large hospital tag that went around my wrist, and I've also got the little tiny one that went around my son's ankle. So so cool that I kept it. I think like my mom was so delighted when she found out that I had held on to it, because I'm pretty sure she said that she had no idea where hers disappeared off to. But that said, she had a postpartum hemorrhage and had to go through emergency life-saving procedures for about 4 hours after I was born. So I'm sure she had other things on her mind than holding on to the hospital tags. My son loved Aussie Baby Animals. It's one of those black and white high contrast books that are very popular to share with newborns. And he absolutely adored this book. And I would go through and I would do all the little actions. So like there's like a page that's like with a kangaroo with a saying, "In you hop, little baby. Can I kiss your soft wee feet?" And that's when like I would kiss his feet and I'd go kiss, kiss, kiss. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So I had a little thing about that and how we were bonding. A little bit about the newborn weeks. Oh, and this was a spread about some of the gifts that we received after he was born. So one of our like lovely friends, who have two gorgeous kids of their own, they were still in Sydney. So we'd moved up here to the Gold Coast, but they took the time to send us this lovely care package. And among them was this little jellycat beige rabbit. And that became my son's favorite toy. And that's him rolling around bed with it. And when he started daycare at 15 months old, so this was, long after I finished this book, my son took the rabbit in every single day. And that was his comforter while he was getting settled in daycare. So maybe the first, I'd say 6 or 9 months he was at daycare, he took his bunny rabbit in. And it wasn't until he lost it because a another kid in his class has the same toy, but they don't bring it to daycare, and their older sibling came in to pick them up one day, who's around 4 or 5 years old. And the older sibling saw the rabbit and understandably thought it belonged to their baby sibling, and so they took it home. And then meanwhile somebody else's rabbit, the same rabbit, was left in the classroom, and then the teacher sent my son home with this other one. But we were like, that doesn't look like our rabbit. And oh gosh, I have to shout out to my son's educator at the time. Her name was Miss Gabby. She was so lovely. She was one of my son's absolute favorite educators. She made up the cutest wanted poster with a photograph of my son's rabbit, and was like, "Oh, this rabbit got lost. Please, like, okay, no, it wasn't a wanted. No, that makes the rabbit sound like a criminal. It was a missing poster. It was a missing persons poster." And yeah, and then after a couple of days, some of the educators, they all rallied to help out, and they thought to ask that family if there was any chance that their child took it home by accident. And lo and behold, they went home, took a careful look, and found out, oh yeah, no, that's not our rabbit. This is a photograph from a baby shower. As I said, I accepted a new job before I found out that I was pregnant, and I was feeling a little bit out of sorts, and a little bit nervous about starting a new life, buying a new house in a place where we didn't have any family or friends. And my colleague actually, once she heard about that, volunteered with another professor in my department to hold a baby shower for me. She was just the most incredibly generous person. And it was one of the loveliest things that anyone has done for me. So the two of them co hosted my baby shower, and they collected donations from everyone around my faculty. And they didn't even know me at the time, right? I'd only been there for a couple of months, but they threw this amazing brunch and showered us, as you can see, with presents. And I can tell you, every single one of those things I used, they were invaluable, right? You can actually see like a little penguin toy and a polar bear toy. My son literally still has those in his bed right now. He calls them his friends. And if he notices that I've like tucked one away, he'll say, "Where's penguin? Where's polar bear?" And I'd be like, "Oh, here you go." This was a spread about my breastfeeding journey, which was not easy. And this was actually a spread about my struggles with postnatal anxiety and depression. So there's a few personal things that I don't want to share on the internet, but this was a incredible book by Gregg, but the name of the book escapes me. I'll put it in the description, but it's another black and white book for newborns, but it's done with an indigenous art style with very like indigenous inspired native animal stories and themes. And I actually checked this book out from the library, and I honestly, oh, I have it right here. It's Today's Sun by Gregg. I read this book to him every single day. He was mesmerized by the art and the stories within. But reading him this story was one of the ways in which I began bonding really closely with my son. And his happiness, his joy, his tenderness was what helped me out of the very, very dark period of my postnatal depression, as was taking long walks with him and getting cuddles. I have a spread where I actually, at the time, I must have thought that I had a lot of pictures around that month of his life, and I wanted to hold on to it so that I could have space to put it in. And so I've actually just got a placeholder here where I've got some decorative collage paper, but I've made a note to myself that I should put in some extra photos I have during that period of his life. Now, when my son was around 3 months old, we took him to weekly baby splash classes at the pool. So this was actually, I have quite a few spreads about his fun time in the pool and also the friends that he made while he was there. This was a little sticker that the swimming pool gave him, along with some, decorative aquatic animal stickers as well. That was so cute. Yeah, here's another spread about settling into our home. And again, we go on walks all the time, and so this was about getting acquainted with wildlife and birds around our local area. And I've left a little bit of space. I imagine I probably could put in a photograph or a drawing or something of some of the native birds we have in our area. Now, here is where I started easing out of this journal. I have a placeholder here for wanting to share some photographs of his first Christmas. A little bit more space to maybe journal or document maybe some of the presents that he received, some of the toys that he was playing with during this time, and sort of the most memorable moments. And then here I've made a placeholder for sharing New Year's or New Year's Eve after he was born. And then the rest of the book is actually blank with just a couple of kind of decorations that I had put in early on when I had this book. And it's a space for me again to kind of like maybe I'm sorting through all my things, and I find a little picture that he drew when he was, not really when I say draw, right, but like scribbled with crayon, and then I have a little bit of room to paste it here. Something about me is I really don't like finishing books. Like, I really don't like completing them and sort of keeping this as like, okay, this is a complete archive of the first year of my son's life. I really love like leaving the ends unfinished a little bit. So it's like kind of leaving a loose end, not tying everything up. And then I feel like, if I'm, going through my things and I find something like a photograph, a piece of artwork, a little scrap piece of paper, something that is from the first year of his life, I feel like there's still space for me to paste that in or to document it. So I don't really feel the need to kind of like complete things. And in case you're wondering how I write straight in a blank book, I don't. If it was left up to me, it would be going everywhere. So what I do if I am writing in a blank book, because this insert came with the traveler's notebook and I wouldn't want to waste it and buy lined and dotted or grid books and only write in them instead, I print out grid paper in a variety of sizes, just from a regular printer and regular printer paper, and then I always tuck that into the page behind wherever that I'm writing. And then that's where you see like the magnetic bookmark, for example, being really handy in that I can just sort of clip it into place so that it doesn't slide around everywhere, because you'd hate to be realigning while you're in the middle of a spread. And that kind of holds it in place. And then I can, with my fountain pens, start writing a little update about what's going on in his life. So that's the baby book that I kept for my son. And one of the reasons why I did start easing off as it reached the end of the year. Let's make sure the beautiful moon and star charm appears exactly where it's meant to be. Is, as I mentioned at the top of this video, is that I started keeping these Hobonichi A6 original tetros as the daily journal for my son. This is the first one that I had. It started in spring, so that's April the 1st, 2023. But I didn't buy this until July, which is when I became aware of Hobonichi. And so I started this and did a little bit of backlogging for April to July, and then finally started keeping the book in earnest from July onwards, and then all the way through until the end of March 2024. After filling this out, I decided to take a break from daily journaling for my son, and I moved to a Hobonichi cousin that became my catch-all in 2024. Work, personal, family, anything and everything went into the one A5 cousin notebook. But if you have watched my previous video talking through my 2024 recap and also showcasing what I'm using in 2025, my Techo Kaigi, then you would know that the catch-all book, as beautiful as it was in theory, didn't work for me in practice. I found it much too chaotic, messy, disorganized, just like having like doctor's appointments and reminders to do laundry next to a beautiful journal entry about this incredible experience that I had with my family, and la la la. So after not having a baby book for 9 months, I have, as of the start of 2025, decided to keep this baby book, this daily baby book again. But for me, the beauty of traveler's notebooks is that it's not like a daily journal, it's not a planner, it's a scrapbook, a memory keeper. And having this book and being able to steal away an hour for myself in between naps and in between grandparents coming to help out and look after my baby, and being able to just steal that little bit of time for myself and reconnect with what it means to be human for me. This was a lifesaver. This was quite literally a lifesaver. Oh, so thank you to Ilaria for creating this beautiful charm for me. I told her what I was looking for, because she sells pendants and earrings, and she doesn't make traveler's notebook charms per se, but I saw that her pendants could be used as a notebook charm. And I wrote to her and I asked her if she could make one of her earring designs as a pendant. And literally that evening, she created 2 different designs of moons and stars to show me and asked me which one I wanted. And when I saw this, I knew it was meant to be. Please go check out her business, Aquasei. I'll put the links to her Etsy store in my description. She is an incredible theorist and writer, and I cannot believe how multi-talented she is, that she could teach herself polymer clay jewelry in her spare time and build a business in very, very short months into what is now no doubt going to be a rapidly flourishing brand. Thank you so much for watching my tour of my baby book. In my next video, I'm going to be showing you the first month of what it's like to have journaled in this baby book, and also how, as a mother who works full-time, how I find the time to write daily journal entries about my baby. And so, spoiler alert, I don't sit down and write daily in this journal, but I do take little bits of time here and there, and I do a lot of backlogging. I have a lot of memory keeping and little scraps and photographs and things like that that I will stick in to pad out my entries. And so it's not perfect, but it's a very realistic look at how, where I can, with compassion, with grace for myself, find the time to note down the little treasured memories I have in these first few years of my son's life, so that hopefully many years from now I can look back and think, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so, so happy that I kept these little memories and these, yeah, little mementos of my son's life. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you in advance to all of you who leave comments, who engage on my videos. It really does mean a lot to me to see this community start to build around my channel. And I do hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful week until then, and